They're on day 19, the conflict is nowhere near over. But what also highlights is that the Ukrainian resistance is continuing to hold up. Ukrainian President on Sunday, Volodymyr Zelensky, paid a visit to wounded Ukrainian soldiers at a hospital. Russia's continued its assault on Ukrainian cities. Air raid alerts were sounded in 19 out of 24 Ukrainian regions. A school in the city of Mykolaiv was also hit by a Russian missile. Russia has targeted key Ukrainian facilities, particularly their air defense. Several airfields in Ukraine have been destroyed in the last many days. The Bishiv village of Ukraine also came under a Russian missile attack where multiple houses and buildings were damaged. Ukrainian forces have also shot down 4 planes and 3 choppers. Zelensky has said that Ukraine has been able to evacuate nearly 1,25,000 people through humanitarian corridors and now aims to send aid to Melitopol, which has come under Russian attack.
Неділя, але хто зараз зважає на це? 8 років.
Important about today, about war. We will win. Glory to Ukraine. We were able to evacuate nearly 120,000 people using humanitarian corridors. The main task now is Mariupol. Our diplomatic effort is focused on aid to reach the city.
Росія втратила тисячі одиниць військової техніки.
So that's Ukrainian President Zelensky. They're leading from the front. He even visited, as you saw earlier, those who were wounded in hospitals. This is in the capital of Kyiv. Ukrainians clearly are refusing to bow down, saying they'll give it their all to fight back right now. Gaurav Sawant, who's been reporting for us from Kyiv, had a conversation with the mayor of Belosarkva. He said that Russians may be advancing from the north and northeast, but their advance will be stalled in the south.
Preparations intensifying for the defense of Kiev, and we are in Belosarkov. This is about 70 kilometers from Kiev, and with us is the mayor. This is the axis from the south. We've been talking about the north, northwest and west, 3 approaches to Kiev that the Russians are trying to advance from. In the south, they are being stopped, and with us is the mayor of Belosarkov. Sir, what's the current position right now?
Звичайно, наше місто, як і всі великі міста України, були здійснені ракетні удари з сторони електропостачання, водопостачання, газозабезпечення, а також теплопостачання.
Today the situation in Belosarkva is stability. All the life support system works stably, but we also was attacked by Russian Federation army. We have some missiles here.
So there was a missile strike. There have been missile strikes here. Now, this is quite a militarized zone even as we speak. Everyone's carrying a weapon. The mayor himself is carrying his assault rifle. His team that work with him, they are armed with their weapons walking alongside him. Is a Russian invasion or a Russian attack from this flank also expected, like Brovary or in Irpin and Bucha? The Russians are trying to advance from there. What about this place?
Поки що на нас атаки не було. Було декілька диверсійних груп.
No, the situation in Belosarkva is stably. We had some sabotage groups, but now it's liquid.
They've been liquidated.
We'll liquidate.
That's a very important point that you make. The mayor is making a very important point about sabotage. Russian infiltrators, they are coming into the system not with their weapons. Their weapons are already here, and then they attempt to target the Ukrainian security forces from behind. And that is where, if you notice this change in the armband, it used to be yellow earlier, it's blue now. It's to keep an eye on who's on the Ukrainian side and who's on the Russian side. But there were some missile attacks that took place in Belosarkov. What was the damage like?
3 людини загинуло, на жаль, і 12 людей поранено. Також, є зруйновані будівлі і, звичайно,
we have 3 deaths and 12 wounded. Some building is destroyed, but
You're fighting on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. In this locality, there have been some missile strikes. Some military installations have also been targeted by the advancing Russian soldiers. But is Kiev safer from the south side as the Russians approach from the north and the northwest?
Сьогодні в Україні немає міста, де би було безпечно знаходитись, тому що ми бачимо.
There are today no safe cities here in Ukraine because we see that missiles attack is on the west, on the south also.
Well, that's an important point. For speaking to us here on India Today, Mayor, many thanks, sir. Ma'am, many thanks. So, protecting the city, but making a very important point. No city is safe from a Russian missile attack. These attacks continue, but ground forces are being stalled at multiple locations. The pitched battles for the control and defense of Kiev continue. With cameraman Pawan Kumar at Bela Serkov on the southern axis to Kiev, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
What we're also constantly seeing is mayors of cities which are putting up a fight being targeted. Thousands of people from Melitopol over the weekend hit the streets to protest the alleged abduction of their mayor, Ivan Fedorov, by Russian forces. People were seen chanting freedom to the mayor, Fedorova, demanding his release. The war in Ukraine is raging on for nearly 20 days now. Russia has repeatedly assured the international community that it's not targeting civilians, despite contrary reports from the ground. This is the moment mayor of a city called Melitopol, Ivan Fedorov, is abducted, allegedly by Russian soldiers. The video shows Russian soldiers taking the mayor out of a building with his head covered. Ukraine's Internal Affairs Ministry confirmed that the mayor was abducted after he refused to cooperate with the Russians. There's no information about Mayor Fedorov's whereabouts. His city is in Russian control. Ukrainian President Zelensky condemned the abduction, calling it a sign of Russia's weakness.
Today in Melitopol, the invaders captured mayor of the city, Ivan Fedorov, a mayor who courageously defends Ukraine and the people of his community. Obviously, this is a sign of the weakness of the invaders.
Ознака слабкості.
The kidnapping has sparked a flurry of protests. Thousands of Melitopol residents marched to the administration building, demanding the release of their mayor. According to Ukrainian media, Russian forces entered Melitopol on the second day of their invasion. Since then, the mayor had led several rallies with thousands of attendees. On March 5th, Fedorov reportedly said that the situation in the city was getting difficult due to a food and medicine shortage. The mayor also called for a humanitarian corridor to let the residents leave, which was denied by Russian forces. Bureau Report, India Today. Tragic news that came in yesterday of an American journalist who was killed and another wounded amid shelling by Russian forces. Brent Renaud, a 51-year-old journalist and award-winning filmmaker, was a former employee at New York Times. He was killed amid heavy shelling by Russian forces. Brent and his colleague Juan Arredondo went to film refugees who were leaving the city of Irpin when they were shot after crossing a checkpoint in Irpin, a town very close to Kiev. Brent was shot in the neck and reportedly was dead immediately. His colleague Juan Arredondo was transported in an ambulance to the Okhmadate hospital after being wounded. The killing of the journalist comes amid ferocious fighting between Russian and Ukrainian forces, which is underway for the last 19 days. The situation particularly very bad in the city of Irpin. But will this war ever end? The focus right now on that front is on dialogue that's happening between Russia and Ukraine. Russia is closing in on the capital city of Kiev, and amid that, the fifth round of peace talks will begin today. The delegation from the two countries have met 4 times before, including face-to-face talks between the foreign ministers, but have failed to yield any results. The only positive outcome of the peace talks has been creating a humanitarian corridor for civilians and a brief ceasefire at certain locations. The last round of peace talks took place in Turkey, where foreign ministers of the two countries met with Turkey's foreign minister, who was mediating the talks. Ukrainian President Zelensky has called for Israel Prime Minister Naftali Bennett to intervene. The Ukrainian president had said that Jerusalem can be a constructive place to hold Russia-Ukraine talks. He's been pitching time and again that he directly meet with Putin. Ukraine is a beautiful country filled with bustling cities and many tourist sites. We've shown you, however, firsthand how this lovely country has been ravaged by war. Once brimming with life and urban settlements, now it's reduced to rubble. Here are those telling and extremely disturbing images of what war has done to a beautiful country.
Captivating cathedrals, marvelous monasteries, historic monuments, and cities with grand landscapes. This was Ukraine for tourists holidaying in Europe's second largest country. Now, all that is left for one to see in Ukraine is this: missile attacks and explosions, bloodstains of civilians, and heartbreaking scenes of citizens fleeing. Mykolaiv, a city and municipality in southern Ukraine, the main shipbuilding center of the Black Sea, is now under attack. Images on your screen show a Russian missile targeting a car park in the city and several other civilian areas. Reduced to rubble, the beautiful town of Volnovakha in the Donetsk region of Ukraine, it served as the administrative center and now has been decimated by shelling. Buildings have collapsed, cars have been destroyed. The region has become a ghost town with people fleeing from the area in droves. Kharkiv, the second largest city, continues to be the worst hit. Images on the screen show this once beautiful city in ruins. Buildings totally destroyed, the cars empty shells, and no sign of life anywhere in this ravaged city. Capital city Kyiv, the most populous city of Ukraine, an important industrial, scientific, and cultural center of Eastern Europe, now in ruins. Devastating images capture bodies lying all around, charred Russian tanks, and destruction everywhere. This is the central city of Ukraine, Dnipro, and the destruction is evident here too. Once bustling and full of life, shelling and continuous airstrikes by Russia has reduced this city to debris.
Ukraine is also a traveler's paradise. This is one of those last genuine destinations in Europe where you can explore a lot of areas. And this is a tourist paradise, or at least it was, when lakhs and lakhs of tourists visited this country earlier. Now the problem is this country is just struggling to stay afloat amidst the Russian invasion. With cameraman Pawan Kumar in Kiev, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
And with that, I'm slipping into a short break here on India Today. Do stay with us because we're going to continue getting you all the updates you need to know this Monday morning on the Ukraine war.